Awesome. Hello. Hello, awesome authors. It is so good to be with you this afternoon. Wow, we have had an incredible month. We've had 10 amazing sessions. Well, we're about to have session number 10 on stewarding your story in September. I would love to know how you have found it. So please comment. If you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from. And I'm also going to ask that if you're watching the replay on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. We are trying to grow this channel and create a platform where we can support each other and promote our stories, steward our stories, and get connected with the readers who can benefit from what we carry. So I appreciate all those subscriptions. Today, I have a special treat for you. I've got the amazing Benicia Pondo with me. Benicia is an author of several books. She's written 6 books, and there are 2 books that I just want to highlight because they look amazing. And I know that some of you might be interested in these messages. The first one is The Best Marketing Planner, and it's BEST, the acronym. And it's a 90-day guide to help you master your marketing and grow your business. And the second book is Prosper in Your Purpose, 7 essential elements to grow a thriving, prosperous business. I love that. I love that because as authors, we are all about writing the books and we don't always think about the business side of it. So I am so excited to speak to you today, Benicia. Welcome and thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and your experience with us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. And I will tell you that The Best Marketing Planner is a book I helped one of my clients, Nadine Mullings, publish. So it's
Oh,
one
right.
of my clients' books, but I recommend that you go and pick it up because it's absolutely phenomenal. It will help, especially with this theme of stewarding your story.
That's
That
right.
planner will
Yeah.
help you to do that. Yes.
You know, I thought it was familiar, and we had Nadine Mullins, she was the first person to come on and talk to us in the series, and I thought it looked familiar, and I didn't quite twig that it was her book. Um,
Yes,
well, there you go.
she's my client. So yes, I wholeheartedly endorse her book. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Benicia, welcome. And tell us a little bit about your books. What called you to this writing life? And yeah, tell us about your first book. What was the first book you wrote?
Oh, the first book I wrote was Prepare to Receive More. I wrote that back in 2012, and it was the book that I published to launch my coaching and speaking career. I had just left my work as an attorney and business development strategist, and I was launching into really expressing my purpose as a coach. I got certified as a personal executive coach. I was ready to start to share and empower Christian women to prosper. And so ready for more, or prepared to receive more, I should say, is a book that's all about helping you to get ready for the more that you're asking God for. A lot of times I find, even now, even after all of this time as coaching and now helping people to write and publish their books, I find that we say we are ready for God to bless us. We're ready for him to open up all of these doors, yet we don't prepare ourselves. We don't prepare our hearts, and we are not set up to faithfully steward the blessings that he wants to give us. So being the amazing and wonderful, loving and caring God that he is, he halts sometimes. He will wait for us to get to that place where we're ready to steward so that the blessings he's sending us won't harm us. And so that's what that book was about, really helping you to prepare, understanding God's vision for your life, and then preparing to receive the blessings that he has for you.
Awesome. That is so awesome. I resonate with so much that you're saying. And so tell us a little bit about the other books. Just give us a bit of an overview. Do you find, because this is one thing that I find in my author journey, my writing journey, that there's always similar themes that come out of the books that I write. And I think there's just, it's so amazing to see that special message that God's written on your life come out of all the work that you do. So what's your themes? What are the things that you're passionate about, that you like writing about?
Yes, absolutely. So early on, as I was progressing into my purpose-driven work, the theme is to help Christian people prosper. Understanding that God has given us so many good things, and He wants us to use our talents and our gifts to let our light shine in the world. So I've had several um, complementary themes that over the years. That was the first, and being unstoppable in who you are, and then also letting your light shine. So after Prepare to Receive More, my second book was the one that you mentioned, Prospering Your Purpose. I wrote that book because as I was going throughout my journey in my purpose-driven work, I found that I had an expensive hobby. And I woke up one day and I had a great call with the client in the UK, actually, the client in the UK, and I had helped her grow her business, and she was out marketing and doing all these things. And I went to pay my bills that day, and I had $3.11 in my bank account. And it was at that point I realized, hey, you have to have the purpose and the prosperity, because I was seriously considering stopping what I was doing in this purpose-driven space and going back to work that I was good at, but it really didn't fulfill my purpose. So I wrote that book because I was making myself my own client. And I said, listen, you have to do what you teach your clients to do. And that's what I did. So Prospering Your Purpose gives the 7 essential elements to turn your expensive hobby into a thriving, profitable success. After that, I took a little bit of a hiatus from writing my own books, and I really delved into helping my clients to prosper and to grow and all of those things. And then I started to write more books along the lines of empowered faith. So there is Detox Your Soul, which is a 21-day spiritual detox, helping you to clear your mind, your emotions, and your thoughts, and release some of those things that are clogging you up. I've written the Overnight Success Journal. That is a guided journal. It's a daily guided journal where you are preparing for your success the next day, the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, you are fresh, you're ready to go, and you are able to really take, they say seize the day, you're really able to do that. I've also written, I'm going through them. My most recent, I'll fast forward because most of those other ones are journals, devotionals. So developing spiritual intimacy with God is a devotional journal. And my most recent book is Let Your Light Shine. It is a process that helps authors to gain the clarity and the confidence about the true power of your story and your message, and really harness that, because that is the first step into being able to let your light shine. So those are the books I've written. And when you talk about themes, I think the overall theme is empowering your faith and being able to be who God has called you to be, with passion, with purpose, and with prosperity.
Wow, I love that. There's just so much wisdom and amazing things in everything. I'm definitely getting some of those on my Christmas wish list. And I love your heart for seeing people prosper in their purpose. I think so many of us can relate. I personally can relate into like being so passionate about writing, but getting it to not just have impact, but that income element as well. And we're going to be talking about that today. Like, how do we generate not only impact with our books, but income? And I love the phrase that you share with your community, that you've shared with me, and that is, you can't let your light shine if you can't pay your bills.
Yes.
And you talk about that generating both impact and income. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? What does that look like for you?
Yes, yes. I talked about that a little bit before as my reasoning for writing my second book, Prospering Your Purpose. I found that you cannot indeed let your light shine if you can't pay your light bill. There are so many authors who are passionate, they're purposeful, they have a great intention and really have a heart to touch souls with their message. Yet on that journey, they find that they're pouring in, they're pouring in, and they're not getting anything out. And what happens is we all have the basic needs of food, of clothing, of shelter, those basic necessities. And when we are pouring into something that is not allowing us at the bare minimum to meet those necessities, then we look for other ways to make the money. We look for other ways to provide for our needs. And so often, what that means is sacrificing our God given purpose. And it means sacrificing what He has gifted us with. When I say you can't let your light shine you can't let your light shine if you can't pay your light bills. What I mean is that if you don't have that fundamental ability to care for your needs, you are not going to have the motivation or the opportunity to let your light shine in this world. And I go back to the parable of the talents, where Jesus is telling us about this master who gave his servants these talents. And in today's term, I would say our gifts, our abilities, our experiences, the lessons that we learned, the message that God has placed in our heart to share. And what the master was so upset about, like, when I read that, I feel the frustration. He gave the servant with one talent that talent. And that talent was not used. He didn't put it out into the marketplace. He didn't invest it. He didn't share it. And what happened? What happened is that it was taken away. And it was considered to be the worst of the worst. And those who did use their talents, who did multiply them, who did invest them, they grew, they multiplied, and they were given even more. So in our businesses as an author, and yes, I said businesses because being an author is a business, it's an endeavor. And in that endeavor, God is giving you those talents. He's giving you those gifts. He's giving you the stories that are on your heart to share. And if you don't share them with purpose, you don't share them with intention, and you don't share them with the benefit of you also receiving, then you are basically like that servant with one talent. You're hiding. You're not effectively stewarding the gifts that God has given to you.
That's right. And I love that, the Bible says that if we're faithful with the little, we are given more. That whole
Yeah.
parable is just be faithful with the little bit. God doesn't expect us to just go, I can't find the right words. Like, he's not asking us to be faithful with someone else's calling or with someone
Yeah.
else's vision or with someone,
Yeah.
if you're not the 10,000 person, it's okay. Take your one talent and just be faithful with the little. And as we take those faithful action steps with the little he's given us, he keeps multiplying. He keeps giving us more. And I love that. So I wanted to ask you as well, you mentioned that you had some straightforward, actionable strategies, things that we can do, things that authors can utilize to increase our book's visibility and to monetize. And I also like that you say beyond just book sales, because this is you're more than just a book, right? I always say that we are the living, breathing message that God's written on our hearts. So not everybody's going to read your book, but many people are going to encounter you and the message that God's written on your heart, even if they don't read your book. So can we talk a little bit about what are some of those strategies that you use and that you teach others to use?
Yes, absolutely. So the very first strategy is to have a strategy, to get clear. When the Bible says to write a vision and make it plain, that is so important. I also love when it says, without a vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
We have to be very clear about what we want from our book right from the very beginning. We want to make sure that we understand what is our vision? Who do we want to serve? How many books do we want to sell? How much money do we want to make? All of these practical and tactical inquiries are important to frame our focus. Having a vision and a strategy for what you want from your book is the very first step. So I would encourage you, if you have not already thought about these things, think about your book. And when you think about how many books you want to sell, think about how many readers you want to reach. Think about those things and begin to craft that vision. Now, as you're crafting that vision, I also want you to envision the things that you must do to reach that level. So, this is not a pie in the sky type of thing. This is a practical, realistic strategy that you are developing. So when you look at your goals, and I love what Meliza said about not looking at what other people have or what other people are doing, look at what will really make you have what you want to have. So if your goal is to sell 1,000 copies of your book and you want to reach 1,000 readers, then that's your goal. You don't have to look at someone who's selling 1,000,000 copies, because 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, you're not ready or able to do what they had to do to sell that 1,000,000 copies. So look at where you are, look at your resources, look at your time, your financial resources, your energy resources, and craft a vision for your book that will leave you satisfied. Now, once you have that vision, then it's time for you to really begin to share about your book. What I love is when people share about the message of the theme. Your marketing cannot be buy my book, buy my book. Oh, did you see that I just released my book? Oh, hey, have you picked up a copy of my book? My book is on Amazon today. Oh, I'm giving away a free book today. People tune that out. Your book is the solution to someone's problem. So you have to show them that you know how to solve the problem that they have. They're going to buy your book, not because it's a book, but because it's that answer to their prayer, because it's that solution to the problem that's been keeping them up at night. So when you are sharing about your book, share about the message, share about your expertise in the subject, share about practical tips and strategies around that and bring them in. Touch on their pain points, understand what your audience needs. When you do that, that's when you create the connection. That's when you are able to really hone in, and people are going to want to buy your book, and not only buy your book, but refer it. So you have your vision. You make sure that when you are sharing about your book, you are sharing about the message and the theme of your book. It's not about buying the book. It's about sharing the solution that your book provides. And then make sure that you are collaborating and networking and connecting. If you have written a book about financial wellness, work with people who also talk about the same topic as you are in a complementary way. go to workshops, go to networking events, join groups so that you can connect and collaborate. You want to, as much as possible, get in front of other people's audiences. So whether that's with podcasts, doing interviews like we're doing here today, getting in front of different groups with summits or speaking engagements, all of those kinds of things are really good. Doing guest blog posts, all of those things help you to get in front of other people's audiences. What I find most is that authors rely on their own family and friend network. And that's what keeps you selling less than 100 copies of your book, because you're focused on your own network. You have to expand outside of your own network so that you can reach more people. The people that you're called to serve are outside of your circle most times. And so when you are able to network and collaborate and maybe do a book swap or show up at the library and offer some kind of talk around the subject of your book, really get out there and share beyond just your circle. Now, when it comes to going beyond book sales, what we're looking at is, again, taking the message of your book. I remember one of my clients came to me because she was transitioning from being like this high-powered corporate executive into being a consultant. And she says, Benicia, listen, I'm writing this book, but I know that in my business, I have to generate 6 figures. I cannot just have this book, and I cannot start this without maintaining my life. And so we wrote her book together. And while we were writing her book, my advice to her as we were coaching is start to do workshops around this topic. Now, she was in the financial space, so she was helping people to grow generational wealth.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, start doing some workshops, start hosting many events around this topic. And she did. What she found was that, number one, she was attracting the people who really wanted her services. She was also finding out what her people really wanted. Some of the topics in the book we massaged because as she was doing her workshops, she found that the questions that they were asking were not things that she had had in her books outlined already. So we had to massage the outline as she found out more about her audience. And then 6 months after she published her book, we continue to talk about creating packages and programs with her book, creating a high level as well as a group program for her book. She continued to do the workshops and the seminars. And she emailed me and says, hey, I'm already replacing my corporate income. Now, what this means is that your book, your genius, your message can go beyond just the book. You can create multiple streams of income with your message. It doesn't have to stay in the book. In fact, there are going to be some people who read your book and they want your help doing that thing. Whether you're coaching them or you're doing it for them, they need your help. There are going to be some people who see the title of your book, they read a couple of pages, they're like, oh, I need help with this. So they're not even going to read the whole book, but they know from the very beginning, they need your help and you're the expert in this. So they're going to come to you. So I encourage you to think about the different ways. I say at least 3 different ways that you can translate your message into outside income, additional income. The very easiest is to create a workshop with your book topic. We are in, right now, I'm working with authors. We're publishing an inspirational journal each month, and I'm loving this project because I'm helping people to write books that are impactful, that are powerful, and that don't take a lot of content. So this is a way for you to start, putting your message in a form where you're guiding people to get to a certain result. You can use your book. You can take a chapter of your book and create a workshop around that chapter. If you have 10 chapters in your book, there are 10 workshop topics for you. You can dive in, you can give them the skills, the insight, and then give them some steps to implement that. And then, so that's one thing you can do is the workshops. The second I would recommend is doing maybe a group coaching program. You can take the chapters of your book and turn it into a program where you're guiding people through that process. So again, if you have a 10 chapter book, you could have a 10-week group coaching program focused on the result that you want to get people to do. And then a third low-hanging fruit is to offer done-for-you type of services, consulting or coaching services that you can, again, taking people through the content of your book, and that's going to be more one-on-one. So all of these ways are going to help you not only reach more people and have a greater impact, but you're also going to be able to build clients, you're going to be able to build credibility and cash flow, ultimately allowing you to prosper in your purpose.
Awesome. I love that. Wow, there's so much good things in there. You'll need to rewatch and make some notes. I have made a few here, but one of the things that I was really drawn to as you were talking was just that very first point about writing the vision. And I just felt like the Holy Spirit drop into my heart that it's okay to have a big vision. Like sometimes I feel like we almost need to be given permission to dream big with God and to believe that He wants to reach not only 5 people with your book, but 5,000 or 5 million. It's okay to dream big. And I think there's this intentionality behind what we're doing that's so important. Just as you were speaking, I was thinking, how many times do we there was a phrase you used, and I thought this is such a good phrase, but I can't remember what it is now, but we kind of just jump in and we just get in there, start writing the book without really thinking, right, what is the end goal? Where do I want to be? Where am I going with this specific book and this gift that God's given me, this message that He's given me? And also just the fact that He is not expecting us to do it all by ourselves. He's going to give you the vision. He's given you the message. He will show you the next steps. He will show you the bigger goal or His heart for that book. And one of my favorite questions to ask the Holy Spirit is, what is your vision? What is your dream for this book? What is your dream for this message that you've given me? And I also loved that you mentioned collaboration and connection, because that is a very live one for me at the moment. I am just in the process of kind of discovering how awesome it is when you reach outside of your immediate circle and you kind of connect with people that's in the same stream, doing the same thing, having the same heart, having the same goals. It's really quite powerful. So Benisha, thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom with us. This is so rich, this conversation, and I am definitely going back over it and making some notes. And I am sure there will be many of us that has found something really valuable. Like always, I always challenge people, find one thing. When you listen to a talk, or you listen to a podcast, just find one thing that is going to move the needle for you and start actioning it. Just a little thing, be faithful with that one little thing and then just see God move on it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today. It's been so amazing to have you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And just tell us, if we wanted to connect with you, what is the best way we can get a hold of you, and how do we get copies of your books?
Yes. So inspirationalauthors.com is my website. Everywhere on social media, I am Benicia Ponder. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere I am at Benicia Ponder. So I'd love for you to come and connect with me on social media. Reach out to me if you are thinking about sharing your book, sharing your story, or you have questions about anything we talked about today. Definitely feel free to ask me. My books are available on Amazon. You can search my name and they're there. Again, if you are in the process of needing the confidence and the clarity to share your message, I encourage you to get the latest release, which is Let Your Light Shine. And it will be your guide as you are building that clarity and that confidence so that you can really understand the power that's at work inside of you to share the message God has given you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Benicia. And thank you everybody for watching. Do remember to subscribe and share and connect other people who are in the process of writing their books as well. Thanks everyone and have an awesome day. Thanks, Benicia.
All right, bye-bye.